Hey, how's it going? It's me, Hayden, filming another video for Phoenix Music. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I made my new track, On Fire. If you haven't heard it yet, the Spotify and YouTube links will be in the description, so go and check that out. Feel free to leave a comment. I would appreciate the support. It's a release without a record label, so yeah, any likes, comments is well appreciated. But anyway, on with the video. So, I'll play you the drop. Now, let's go and look at the drums first, I guess. That's a good place to start. So first we have the kick drum, which sounds like this. I've actually remixed and remastered this track several times, and in this version of the track, I've got a glue compressor on the kick drum. That wasn't in my first attempt at mixing this track, but I felt like putting a bit of glue compression on the kick would have helped it just that tiny little bit. So yeah, it's a guitar preset, but I adjusted the preset. But yeah, so that's that, and the EQ looks something like this. In case you wanted to have a look at that, remove this punchy frequency right here so the kick doesn't kind of mess with the mix. And yeah, so on to the next sound, which is the second kick drum, aka the rhythm kick drum, which sounds like this. And together with the main kick, it sounds like this. That's a kind of important kick, I guess. With this track, the kicks and how they play off of each other to create a rhythm is one of the important parts for this track to get the energy in it. If I didn't have these kicks here and I just tried to let the sub bass do all the work, you wouldn't really get the same kind of energy in the track. So yeah, with this one I've just removed a little bit of the lows in case it plays at the same time as the sub bass just to try and stop that fighting, and remove a little bit of the highs as well. And yeah, not much more than that for the kick drum. Now on to the next kick drum, which sounds like this. And if I play all three of these kick drums together, so now you can hear the rhythm starting to come together. Similar kind of EQ into the previous rhythm kick drum. And yeah, those are the kick drums. Then onto the clap. Quite a big aggressive clap. Um, we've removed a little bit of the low end and put a bit of saturation on it just so it hits a bit harder. Because in the previous attempts at mixing this track, I felt like the clap wasn't really hitting hard enough. So I put a bit of saturation on it this time. And also I have this hat which kind of makes the clap sound a little bit more punchy. So when you play those together, it just kind of makes it gives it that little bit more clicky part at the beginning, I guess. And then we've got this little fill part. So basically this part here is the fill, but I chopped little bits of the fill up and added them in just to fill up the rhythm a bit more. And then you end up with something like this. Now, I forgot to show you this bongo down here. I also added a bongo. Purpose behind the bongo is to actually boost the basses up a bit. So if I play the basses with the bongo, You can kind of hear how that bongo is making them a bit more punchy. But yeah, so then what other drums do we have here? Um, we have this perk, and if you listen to how that works in the track, that's basically just everything else stops and that sound just kind of rings out a bit. So yeah, that's what that does. And then we've got this little sound, and I've automated the pan on it, so that's what the pan looks like on it, which is why you can kind of hear it going side to side really fast. And yeah, so that's that. And then we also have this little breakbeat sound. I usually add this into like bass house kind of tracks because I think it's just cool and it gives the track a lot more energy by having that in it. You can kind of hear what it's doing, but yeah. And then we have this little thing, basically just a simple little drum fill. Um, so yeah, have I missed any drums? I think that's all the drums. Um, so now onto the basses, I guess. So this is the basses on their own. So the basses might sound simple, but they're a little bit complex, I guess. So we've got this sub bass. That one's pretty simple. And then we've got this one, which is highlighting certain notes. Because that one's got a bit more mid frequencies. So when you play it with the actual sub bass, it kind of highlights certain notes. And then I left an empty space here just so I could put this little sub roll thing because I specifically wanted to use that little sample. I didn't want to try and make that with the sub bass that I've got here. I felt like just using that sample would work better. So yeah, I left some space here just to add that in. And then I also have these little gritty sounds here to kind of fill in that kind of section. So yeah, and then when you play all this together, so yeah, that's the bases, not too complex. Some saturation on the main sub bass. Uh, this is what the EQing looks like, and this is what my sidechain looks like. And yeah, now onto the leads. So with the leads, they sound something like this. So we've got this little thing here. Again, doing that little pan automation thing that I do. And then to kind of fill it up a bit, I've added a bit of white noise. And then the main sounds are here, which is this one, which is kind of the main body of the sound. And then this one, which just kind of fills it up a little bit more. And then I borrowed a little bit of the reverb tail just to make these little bits. Yeah, so that's something that I do quite often with tracks like this. I will export the MIDI down to audio and then I chop little bits out here and there in order to kind of have the reverb kind of stutter and play a rhythm, if you get what I mean. So yeah, cool little trick to use. And then we have more effects to help fill it up. We've got this one. So yeah, there's that one. And then there's this one. Basically, with this track, it takes a lot of stuff to kind of fill it up. Otherwise, it sounds a bit dry, I guess you could say. So I've added quite a lot of effects and stuff in just to kind of fill it up. Got this little brass bit that stutters. Got this little vocal hit here. And we've got this little nature sound. Got this sound. And this little thing here. Did I show this part? I don't think I showed this part. This is basically a little synth fill. Probably recognize that kind of preset sound. It's used in a lot of Stamp Records tracks. But yeah, so that's added in. The hi-hat, that's the first hat. Second hat, that one's more of a rhythm hat. And the third hat. So if I play those for you. So yeah, that's the hats. And if I play the drums all together, that's basically what that is. So yeah, we've got that little sample. And also I forgot to show you the vocals. So this is the first vocal. Literally just a splice vocal, but it's been sidechained and it's also got a lot of vocoding based stuff on it. So yeah, that's how you get that kind of effect. It's more of an effect than a vocal, I would say. But yeah, sounds pretty good. And then this is another vocal, also got a lot of vocoding done to it. So yeah, that's that. Then let's do the break, I guess. Now we've gone through the drop. So this is the break. So in the break, we have these strings. So yeah, not a lot going on there. The volume kind of goes down a bit here. And then we have this little vocal thing here. And another little vocal thing here. And more strings. And this little vocal thing. And this kind of downlifter thing. And I've also kept the background sound thingy nature going through. We also have this impact. As you can see, I did a little EQ automation to kind of bring it up here. And we also have this brass, as well as the reverse brass to bring it back up. And yeah, then onto the build, we have this riser. And we have this kind of build up thing. Very popular in Julian Jordan tracks. um, we keep the little vocal thing going through the build. We have another downlifter. And another riser. And what do we have here? We've got this synth thing going through. So that's kind of the body of the build. And we've got this little thing. And I'm pretty sure we have some drums. Yeah, here we go. So we've got the snare build. And also the breakbeat is in the build. Using the EQ automations to kind of fade it in. And yeah, that's pretty much that. The rest of it's more or less just the same, I guess. The intro is basically just a simplified version of the drop. So yeah, the master channel has a loud max on it, which is basically a limiter. It's stopping it from peaking, but it's keeping the volume loud as well. And we've got some EQ. And this is the low end automation fading out the low end right before the drop hits. More EQ. And this EQ is removing all the stereo frequencies from the low end, boosting some stereo frequencies on the top. And yeah, so that's pretty much this whole track, I guess. If you found anything in this video helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, feel free to leave a comment, and also don't forget to go and check out this track on my Bass Rider channel. Links will be in the description. So yeah,